Ash, 2021 has been quite the year for you. Firstly, tell us what it was like to go away with Australia to the Olympic Games.
It was a great experience. It wasn't something I thought I was going to go to, but had a good 2 weeks in the pre-camp, and then got the call to go away, which was, it was just a great feeling. We were in a hotel for 4.5, 5 weeks, and we just had a really close bunch. So looking back, it was more the stuff off the pitch that we did together. We just had a good time, and when the games came around, it was just a great experience being a part of something like that.
Is the process for you now to get more regularly into that international setup with Australia and following the footsteps of a number of players from Scottish football that have gone on to represent Australia, such as obviously Jackson Irvine that's been here in the past?
Well, when I first found out I was coming up here, we had Harry Suter so I first found out when I was in Japan, and the first thing I said to him was, what's it like? And he said it was great. It was one of his first loans, and he said it was a really good stepping point for him then to return back to the EFL. So like you said, definitely want to come here, do as well as I can, help the team out, and then get that experience and go back to Charlton and kick on.
You said there you obviously found out about the move when you were in Japan, to go from Japan via London to Dingwall. What was your initial thoughts when you heard about the move of coming up to the north?
My initial thoughts were more just the football side of it. So, Scottish Prem, heard lots of good things. I didn't know too much about Dingwall and Ross County, but as soon as I learnt the kind of the setup, and when I did move up here, I was really well looked after. So, it's a nice place and lots of good people involved.
What are the biggest challenges do you feel you've faced since moving up to the Highlands?
I'd say, even though I'm originally Aussie, I've got lots of family and friends in kind of where I'm based in London. So it was just coming up here and getting settled and making sure I wasn't on my own too long. But like I said before, the setup here is good. Lots of good people involved, so it was quite easy to settle in.
You've been sharing a property with Jack Baldwin. Do you feel that that's helped you adapt to your new surroundings? I'd say so. I think if you're in a flat on your own in a place that you don't know too well, it's always quite hard to settle in and adapt. So having someone there, especially someone like Jack, who's a good bloke, makes it a lot easier to settle in. You've now been in goals for Ross County for 8 games. How have you found the Scottish Premiership? Has it lived up to the expectation you had of it coming up in the summer?
I think the first 4 or 5 games were quite difficult to adapt. So obviously good standard, very physical. That was a challenge initially, but there's a lot of good staff and people who wanted to help me and did help me. So because of that, I think I'm in a better position, and like we've seen the last few results, I think the team's in a better place, and we can start really pushing on now.
And you've had 2 clean sheets in the last 3 games. For any goalkeeper, that boosts confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the season, you'll obviously return to Charlton. What do you want to achieve here? What's the ambitions here to take back down to the Valley?
I'd say just learning as much as I can from the games that I'm playing. I think for any goalkeeper getting in a run of games and the amount of games we have in the next 3-4 weeks, I think if I can get those games and just learn as much as I can on the pitch and make sure I look after myself off the pitch, I think when I go back next season, I can be in a good place to do well.
Over the past few months since you've been up in the Highlands with Ross County, what are the kind of things you feel you've learnt about yourself during that time?
I'd say making sure to look after myself off the pitch, making sure I get my recovery right, sleep, nutrition, those sort of things, because I found the last 18 months when I wasn't playing, I didn't have to focus on those things as much. But coming up here and knowing that I'm going to be involved in games, and I think the one thing I've learned is making sure I prep correctly.
finally ask you, working obviously with Scott Thompson, one of the most experienced goalkeeper coaches in the country, how's it been working with someone like Scott that has such a legacy and a history in Scottish football?
Yeah, it's been great. I think the environment that he creates when we're out training is really good. We make sure we get a lot of work done, but in the analysis room, I said earlier, with the first 4 or 5 games I found pretty tough. But the kind of the point is in not just the football side of it, but the mental side of it, going into games, making sure I'm mentally switched on. He's been really helpful in that regard.